So welcome back, guys, here to the analysis desk. Joining us as per usual is XPK. We actually had a question for you. How did you get in here? Did you use the back door?
It's right there, yeah. I just came over here.
So a bit of a one-sided game there. I think we can agree on it. And we've got obviously a bit of time to kill, so maybe the perfect person to have to help us do that. Talk us through the style of games that we're seeing here at the LCS. Obviously, even these one-sided games have been going a lot longer. Is that just the whole league system? Is that people just wanting to start off well and not throw anything away?
Yeah, I hope it's just going to be at the beginning. Like, people is really scared of losing a few games at the beginning, so everyone's really careful. And it's going to be the same at the end, probably. But I hope after a week or two, teams are just going to grow some balls and just go and just go and fight. Like, I see, like, Giants had 2 chances of fighting them. One at Drake, Barrows was out of position, and what I would have done is just flash as Rise and snare him, but instead they chose to run and they got caught.
Was that the reason why this was so one-sided, because they were playing too cautiously and thinking that they could almost play EG at their own game, being behind, but then not engaging when they probably should? Yeah,
they tried to do that when they got scared after losing 1 kill or 2, I think, and after that they were just not doing anything, just waiting for EG to do everything and waiting and failing and waiting and failing.
So this week actually is our first week on the, not quite the latest patch, we can't call it that, I say we can patch -1 right now. What's the difference here? What, you know, for the people out there that aren't quite sure how this is going to affect the picks, obviously in week 1, Olaf was a massive, it was a beast, like we can call him that, I think, in those teams. Obviously, he's had a nerf in this patch. Talk us through that Olaf change a little bit and how it affects the teams and some other changes there in that patch.
Well, for Olaf jungle, I think it's going to be almost the same, because every time you gank, you pop the ultimate, so you're going to hit the armor pen. But it's going to affect the top lane Olaf a lot. You're not going to be able to stay on top, farming all game and being so strong even during a small trade. So I think Olaf is going to be a good pick still, but not like first pick worth it.
Well, today and this weekend we've been playing on 3.01. You guys have had a bye this week, so you haven't needed to play for this one. Next week we're going to be up to 3.02. Thresh is going to be available. Yeah. So what's going to be different now from this week's games to next week's games, and let's say Thresh? I mean, is he going to be
so
picked?
Much fun. Yeah, he's going to be picked, I think, like every game, or pick or ban, because it's a lot of fun and it makes a lot of game. Like, you can put the lantern anywhere, make easy ganks, save someone, move around the map, and it's really fun to watch, actually.
Has Fnatic or any of your scrim partners been using Thresh online at the moment?
Not in the scrims, because we wanted to practice for these days, but I have seen some people practicing in solo queue, and it's really annoying to play against.
Thresh OP.
Probably people will cry about it.
Okay, so talk to us now about some of the teams. You know, we've talked about the playstyle and how the games are a little bit slower. We've seen against Little Authority yesterday, we've seen Dragonborns. We'll see Dragonborns a little later today as well. Copenhagen Wolves, obviously, you know, they're 0-2, I think, at the moment. What do you think of these new up-and-coming teams trying to challenge the old guys?
I think you can see that they are not experienced as others in offline. They tend to get more nervous and do weird stuff that they normally wouldn't do in online tournaments. And I think it's just about time. At some point they will just be like, let's not care that much about it. We already lost a lot, so let's just play our game, and they will start becoming better confident at it.
Do you think either of those teams, I'm going to say 3 teams, I'm going to include Copenhagen Wolves in that, along with Against All Authority and Dragonborns. Do you think that realistically by the end of this first half season, after the 28 games, do you think they can be up there in those playoff spots?
Not sure. Like Copenhagen Wolves, for example, has one player that is not playing yet. I don't know how much they are going to improve, but if they don't improve enough, I don't think so. And the same for the others. They play. You can see that they don't play as a top team. They make a lot of mistakes.
And what about your living situation here? Because a lot of teams, you know, some teams are flying in every single play day, which is, I hate flying, even though I have to do it a lot. Like, I don't hate flying itself. I hate sitting in an airport before I have to fly, which is the most annoying thing ever. You guys, on the other hand, have got somewhere around here. Did you already move in there yet?
Yeah, we are there already. I hate flying as well, so it's perfect for me. I hate to be, like you say, waiting 5 hours, then playing, then waiting again to take another plane. So yeah, we moved into a city next to Cologne. I don't really know the name right now. Some German.
You should probably learn that.
Yeah, I should probably learn that. But I know what train to take, so it's fine.
Just get on the train. Don't know where I've come from, but I'm here. I'm sound.
Well, talk to us about now living in the house. You guys moved in what, last week, I think?
Yeah, during the last week we moved. We've been preparing everything: the tables, the beds, the PCs. We don't have internet until Tuesday.
Okay.
And yeah, everything is almost ready. We're just missing a bit of monitors, and once we have everything Tuesday, we'll be practicing from there.
What's a day in the life of Fnatic Xpeke? How does it run? How's the training regime? How are you guys living it at the moment?
Right now, it's like we wake up at any time, pretty much, since we have nothing to do. We don't have curtains, so the sun wakes up. We just get awake when the sun comes at 8 or 9, then we sleep until 1, and that's it. We have nothing to do, so we shower, we talk about, and pretty much we cook for 2 hours or something because we have nothing to do.
Cooking with Xpeke.
So we're just there cooking. Like today, I bought a chicken and I was just cutting it in pieces. And I was there for 1 hour doing that because we have nothing else to do.
So coming to a YouTube channel near you soon, Cooking with Xpeke.
Episode 2. Episode 1 was fantastic. So you guys are playing again next week.
Mm-hmm.
Talk us through how are you prepping, how are you planning?
Well, we haven't prepared much yet, only solo queue style.
Okay.
We have been playing solo queue since we didn't have the house ready, but I hope we can get it in Tuesday, the internet, and just play 8 hours every day to get ready for the next weekend. I want to do good there.
I mentioned this yesterday about the management situation. Obviously, I was talking about Gambit mainly with Groove there, who is not the biggest League of Legends professional, I guess we can say. Obviously, he comes from other games, but has a strong management background. You guys have got Harry. What role does that manager play in? I mean, it's probably going to play more of a role in the future, right? Getting you guys to actually wake up at a certain time and do your practice regime or what have you. But how much of a role does having a manager around play for you guys?
Well, yes. You don't have to worry about anything. It's really good because, yeah, you are just playing and he tells you have to do this. At this time, we have to do this. We have scrims at this time. We have to go there at this time. You want to do this or that. So it's pretty much like, yeah, like you said, he take care of everything. And at some point, it's going to be like a mom waking us up and making sure we don't get to sleep too late.
Daddy carry the mom. I like it. Okay, so I asked you just before we came into this if you've had a chance to watch a couple of the NA matches, and you said you've watched a few of them. What are some of the big differences between the North American LCS games that you've watched and the European LCS matches?
Well, I was going to say that most of their matches look like stumps, but after this game, I don't know. I guess it's pretty much the same now. But yeah, it's just, you can see a difference there. Like, there are 1-2 good teams, and the others are not at their level.
Where's the problem there, though? I mean, in Europe, we have 8 teams in the LCS, and we've already seen that at least some of them, right now at least, can beat each other. Hopefully by the end of this first half, all 8 teams can be upsetting each other. But what's the main difference? Why is it that way that you have such a segregated amount of teams in the US compared to here in Europe?
Well, I don't know how they do there, but I know here we are really competitive. Like, at least I am. I don't want to lose to a team certain amount of times. So when I lose, I want to practice harder against another team and then scrim them later and beat them. So I think that's what we do. We scrim a lot against other teams, and when we lose, we don't get mad. We try to improve and then beat them later.
How is it with your scrim partners? I mean, coming into LCS, you've got to play everyone 4 times, so whoever you scrim with, in a way, you're going to be showing them stuff. Do you have any scrim partners that aren't in the LCS? I mean, Meet Your Makers, for example, would be a prime example. I'm sure they're in real high demand right now because they're a team that aren't involved in LCS but are also at the level where they definitely could have been.
Yeah, for sure that NYN is a good team to practice against, but I think you need to practice against everyone. Maybe not hardcore, but at least a couple of games to get used to their playstyle is really good.
Talking about playstyles, taking a question from Twitter actually, from Black Fiskin Paul. He asks, against a team that you haven't researched for, against a team that you maybe don't know so much about. For example, I think we heard Alexis yesterday saying, we don't really know how to play against All Authority. How do you prepare for the match? What's the decision within the team? Do you play something a bit strange and new, or do you play something that you're comfortable and confident on?
No, you play where you're comfortable on. It's the best. If you're afraid against them, not afraid, but if you don't know what they're going to do, you just do a bit of research, try to ban their most comfortable champions and what could annoy you, and you just pick what you play best. Because then they will be scared as well of you, and even if they know what you're going to play, they won't be able to do anything if you play your best.
So before we get into this next game then, I think we should get down to some little predictions, because we're going to go over to the casters here in a little while. SK versus Dragonborns is our next game coming up. What are your thoughts about this one?
I think SK plays better overall and probably will win. But I don't know, Dragonborns can surprise. Like, Hosan is really good, and maybe he can get the carry out and pull the team.
Well, thanks a lot, XPK, for answering some questions. You're going to be with us all day long here. We're going to throw it over, though, to the casters, and they're going to bring you all the action from our next games between Dragonborns and SK Gaming.
Yes, thank you very much. So, as you can see, the teams are getting themselves prepared. Focus on Shushe's face there as he holds onto that. And it's Husan right there, the man that Peke just talked about. How can he carry his team? That's the question. We saw him getting chest bumped off the stage the other day. He wasn't quite carrying so well. He needed carrying himself.
Yeah.
But there is SK Gaming. Some would say the most prettiest team in League of Legends currently. There's a very, very handsome lineup right there.
I think a couple of people got pregnant when Hercubot winked at him.
And Ocelot, well, he had a good wink of his own there. And there's Minzik. Minzik's just stepping in for the team. I don't think he's going to be playing, but Candy Panda is going to take his role. Of course, we saw them playing Annie Jungle earlier on in the day. I don't think Candy Panda's going to go with that one this time around. Yes, you can hear me. It was he heard us in the warm-up rehearsals as well. But SK Gaming Dragonborns, this actually, to me, is probably the best game of the day, I think. This is the most fascinating game for me. I think this could be a very close matchup.
Yeah, I mean, we have two AD carriers that play things that are kind of out of the norm. We have Hosan, who plays Draven, which we saw yesterday. Didn't work out well for him, unfortunately, that day. And then we saw also Candy Panda playing Twitch, which, you know, when they go head-to-head, there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of fights breaking out down there. And also, I mean, Shushe, he's well known from Season 1. He plays a lot of different champions. He's even an innovator in the mid lane. Could whip out something kind of new here. And then you have Ocelot, who, you know, is so passionate. His passion flows through his team. He really wants to win these games. And I know after the loss yesterday versus EG, he was, you know, kind of upset, but, you know, he's kind of pumped at the same time, showing that we still have room to improve.
Yeah, well, you talk about head-to-head. Let's check them out. You can see them on your screen. They're very want to get in your face. As you can see Ocelot there. It's going to be Kevin in the top lane. Ocelot, of course, he is the mid laner. Candy Panda, Nif, and Hercubot with a little backward shot there.
I think he's the only one to actually have that kind of mug shot right there. But over on Dragonboard side, Spontex, Shushe, Hosan, Mover, and Maluno. And Maluno is the new jungler picking up for Broken Shard. He backed out and is the manager now. And he didn't, unfortunately, have an amazing game yesterday. He wasn't terrible, but he played Shen in the jungle. Didn't really seem to have much ganks or anything like that. But we'll get into that in a little bit.
Well, earlier on in the week, we had a chance to get a sneak peek into how SK Gaming are preparing for Season 3's League Championship Series.
This bootcamp is made to be prepared, you know, to invest as much time as possible in training, basically. Like, everything is around training.
We're in the bootcamp right now to train, obviously. And then we're gonna do it like this. Every day we wake up, we eat together, we train together, we do everything together as a team.
It's pretty cool to play more in the team than playing alone solo queue at home. Because the LCS is just about team play, and that's what you train here.
At around 10:30, everybody's already awake, and some of us go to gym, some of us decide to watch series, or, you know.
Then we start screaming at 5 until 11, and then we can go solo queue or watch series. It's like free time after, and every day we do it. And every day we improve and get better.
It's awesome here in this bootcamp, in Girata bootcamp, basically because all of us like eating good, okay, eating proper food, and right here they got, like, it's insane, like, they got the best food you can ever have.
We got time in between the training and our free time to go fitness and stuff like that, into the city, relax a bit, just calm down. The special mindset is, of course, to improve the mistakes we do, to do every game perfectly, to just kind of destroy the enemy, to don't give him a chance.
We have really no pressure here. It's like we just do it because we want to do it. Nobody say you have to do this or this. We just put our rules and live together and have fun. And we all have the same goal, which is win Season 3.
So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. They are the keys to victory. How you win Season 3. You need to wear your jeans when you're on the treadmill. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are unsure of your fitness regime, that is how you do it. You need SK on every single key of the keyboard. That's how you manage to hit those skills. Those ultimates, they will land perfectly, and you need to get the focus.
And I'm really wondering, after seeing Ocelot work out with the scarf, does he also wear that in other places?
He wears that scarf everywhere.
Yeah.
He goes
to sleep with it?
He's in the bath. He's just lying there, and he's got this drape around him. He just wears it everywhere. We're going to check out the team sheets of SK Gaming. You can see them on your screen, and there he is in your face. It is Ocelot, and well, he is certainly the main man. Of course, he's been learning off Peke how to play Kassadin. I'm sure you've all seen the graphic of he's got his playbook of how exactly to play that Kassadin. So maybe Kassadin is something we will see in this game.
May happen indeed. We did see him on Nidalee yesterday. Unfortunately, he got shut down quite hard by EG because they kept taking away that blue buff. He couldn't throw the spears over and over. And it seems when he has a bad game or shut down, the entire lineup of SK gets shut down.
Well, I mean, I spoke to Ocelot earlier on, and he said to himself, he's like, I'm an idiot. It's that I made such a stupid pick, that last pick, and you know, everybody else has been saying it, but he said it himself. He's like, I couldn't sleep. I was kept awake, and I just couldn't get to sleep. He had a meeting at 10 a.m. He's like, no, you're going to have to cancel it because he's not been able to sleep all night. So that last pick against EG really kept him awake. But let's have a look at his opposition. You can see the team for Dragonborns. It is going to be Spontex who we've picked out for this one. And really, he played immaculately in the live qualifiers in Warsaw.
Yeah, he did. He even had a game against, I think it was against All Authority, the first game where he didn't die at all. And then ended up being very cocky in the interview, and then ended up losing 2 straight to them and allowing AA to get into LCS. But he plays quite a bit of different champions in that top lane. I mean, he played Olaf, Darius, Evelyn, Lisa, and even Akali yesterday. So he has a huge champion pool. He's definitely a person to look out for.
And to me, Dragonborns, they are probably one of the teams that actually throw out the most of that are out there. You know, they'll throw out something pretty wild, I'm expecting from these guys. And
that's honestly something you love seeing as a spectator and even a caster, because that can really catch teams off guard. It can really help define you as a team, and especially as Shushay. I mean, we saw at Gamescom, the Season 2 regional qualifiers, he played that Evelyn middle. It kind of expected it, but he was one of the first to play that champion there.
Well, you've heard what we expect. Let's see what the teams are expecting from one another.
We're Dragonborns!
Dragonborns, we played against them. At the beginning, we were like, holy moly, man, these guys are very good. And I told the guys, hey, look at this. What is he doing? We played more games against them, and it went pretty much better.
Holy moly, man. Holy moly. It's New York. Sorry, Ocelot. SK Gaming versus Dragonborns, and it's going to be a lively game. I hope. I'm hopeful. As well as you guys at home, I'm hopeful that this is going to get... Maybe the teams are going to grow some balls, like Peke has said. Maybe they're going to get aggressive, and I think the hairy monsters that are Dragonborns are the team that could grow them balls.
And I think if they pull a win here, we might see another chest bump happen again. I'm kind of excited, but kind of afraid.
They actually said they've got something else they're going to pull out, which I'm intrigued to see if they pull out the win, that they do manage to get something. What are we expecting from these bans, from these two teams?
Well, I wouldn't be too surprised to see a lot of bans target at Shushay. He's kind of their crazy factor of their team, you know, because he can get their team pumped up, he can get their team going and pretty much their head into the game. We do see Kale, Anivia, Zin's out, and Vi banned out. And Vi, if we played by both teams, also actually a ban I was expecting, because we saw Shushay player mid lane, we saw Hercubot player in the jungle, did very well in both of those games. So I was going to be taking that out of the entire pool. But these last 2 bans, not exactly sure what they want to take away from each team. I mean, we still haven't really seen Olaf this week because he has been nerfed slightly. We heard Expect talking about him. He's, you know, more useful in the jungle now, it seems. And Akazik's actually banned out.
And there goes Renekton. So what is available? What would they go with? It is, of course, Shen going to be out there, and Kevin's going to be playing it. He had a boring time of it, I think he said, against the Nidalee last time in that top lane. But immediately, Dragonborns looking like they're going to lock in Taric and Jarvan. And Jarvan, of course, is an interesting one for 3.01.
Yeah, he's one of those champions where he excels early game because of his ganks, because of that disruption he has, not to mention the Cataclysm, the whole famous thing of, I'm Jarvan, I'm helping kind of thing. If you get a nice ultimate late game, I mean, it can really set you up. But the Taric pick is actually one that's kind of intriguing to me. I mean, we could potentially see an Urgot actually comboed with him.
Exactly what I was thinking. Is there going to be an Urgot coming alongside, and are SK going to prepare for that? What would you counter pick if you were expecting that Urgot?
Well, you can go with Twitch. I mean, just someone who can match his power early game.
Oh.
Go for someone like Caitlyn with range. I wasn't even looking at the screen when that happened, I swear. So you can go with Caitlyn with the range. You have the nice CC out of Zyra as well. Obviously could be played in the mid lane, but I don't think Ocelot plays are too much there, so most likely Nif will be taking that. And now over to Dragonborns, what they want to pick up here. I mean, Shushay, we've seen him play Jace. He played that yesterday. Could pick that up yet again. Nice amount of damage, nice amount of harass in that middle lane. But I think Ocelot this time, after when he played against Fnatic with his Anivia versus Caitlyn, was having a hard time.
Okay, we're having a little switch round. It could be Draven.
Yeah,
Hecarim we saw actually from the North American scene. St. Vicious has been running that one. Caitlyn Panda kind of expected that one. It's been his champion of choice since pretty much Season 1. I wouldn't say Season 2, it's Season 1, in fact.
Well, Caitlyn's a very safe pick against Taric because you have the traps and you have your 90 caliber net to get away if you really need to. Spontex actually can play Darius in the top lane. First time I think we've actually seen him
look at that.
in the EU LCS.
It's
and the
Draven and Darius all in one game.
Oh, that's going to get hard to say.
Yes, that's going to keep me on my toes. What are we thinking here? What is going to be the mid lane? Or will it be Zyra as the mid lane? I'm expecting that to be Nif.
Yeah, I really don't think that's going to be Zyra in the mid lane, though. If we see a Sona picked up, obviously it will be that. Also, what he wants to kind of play here, I mean, you need someone with a little bit of disruption in terms of maybe a Nivea, maybe even... Kassadin could be a potential to silence Darius when he goes in, but I think someone who's very mobile, which, you know, Kassadin is very well, could be a very potential pick, but then as well as an Anivia. I mean, the wall off you can do can really separate the teams depending on where you fight. Oh, sorry, Anivia's banned. Sorry about that.
That's okay, man. just.
But if she wasn't,
I didn't want to stop you going. You had a good flow going there, so you felt pretty comfortable. But Anivia definitely is banned out there. So Hecarim now, they're just going to troll us, and yeah, you're not picking that.
Okay, so Orianna is also a very solid pickup as well. I mean, you have that Jarvan ultimate, you can kind of disrupt that completely, like I was trying to mention. With that ultimate, you can pull it all apart, and wow, we actually will see.
So we're going to get a horse. I am a horse. The horse is amazing.
Not the meat, apparently. Not lately.
It's not the meat. If you're in the UK, you'll know what we're getting at. The rest of the world probably won't have a clue what we're talking about, but every little helps.
Gosh. But Dragonborns' last pick, they have no AP currently, so this really wants me to believe that they're going to run another AD champion, maybe that Jace in the mid lane, because there's no point in picking up... I mean, there is a point to pick up an AP now, but if you run an AD, you have that true damage coming out of Darius in his ultimate, you have the armor shred out of Taric, you have the armor stacking of Taric's W, and Jarvan's flag gives you, I think it's 55 or 52 total armor, which is ridiculous when you're going up against that. And we'll see what they're going to pick up here. Actually, wow, sitting on a Lux.
Actually, if I remember well that many people saying Shushay's Lux is actually pretty legit. It's a very strong champion choice for him. I'm not getting any nods from Pekka. He's just giving me a blank expression. So nothing coming out from him. So what are we expecting from these two team lineups?
Well, Dragonborns, as you can see, with the Darius, with the Lux, with the Draven, they want to go for that instant burst. They want to land a light binding and a stun right after that and just kill that person ASAP. Then you have a 5-on-4 kind of fight. Looking over at SK, they have a very tanky lineup with that Hecarim, with the Shen. I mean, Hecarim, he builds tanky, but his W is what really gives him that extra oomph in when it comes to team fights, because you heal off of that when your teammates do damage. They have a lot of control with the Caitlyn traps, with Zyra, and even the Orianna Tapa, who, running that Ghost Flash on Ocelot's going to help him get in position, which he really is going to need to if they want to win these fights.
Well, you see the teams on your sheets. I'm not too sure which way this one could go.
Yeah, it's really iffy.
3 wins against 2 losses for SK Gaming currently. This would, of course, keep them in that second place. They are in there at the moment. They did manage to get that win against EG last weekend, but they lost to them this weekend. Will that be playing on their minds? Ocelot mentioned the fact that it has played on his mind. Will that keep them distracted, though? Will they just be focused on this game? Will that still be in the back of their heads?
I definitely think it's going to be in their heads, because Candy Panda, he's playing against another Lux, and we saw when they played against EG that he got caught by Frog and Snare, and he got blown up completely. He was very cautious the rest of that game because of that. I think with the protection he's going to have now, with the Shen ultimate, with the Command Protect out of Orianna, he can be a little more safe, but it's going to come up to him to play smart, to not get caught anywhere.
Well, you see, you can hear, in fact, Dragonborns and SK keeping on your screens. They are loading into the game. We are loading into the game. And, well, you immediately see the buys coming out. Lots of wards being picked up by Nif there. And you would expect between the teams kind of nothing surprising really coming out from the support players. They're buying wards. Shock, horror, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. It's SK Gaming as the blue team, Dragonborns on your screen as the red team, as we switch and troll me down to the blue. But it is going to be the second match of the day. We are in week 2 here in the League of Legends Championship Series, and it is gonna get an interesting match. Hopefully, we will see an aggressive game coming out for level 1.
Yeah, you were mentioning Nif picking up all those wards. I was gonna say he definitely wants to go for some aggressive wards here just to kind of prevent any sort of engage, because Dragonborns have such a strong level 1 team. They have the snares out of 2 people. They even have the apprehend if they want to use that as well. And Draven, who just does so much damage early on. We do have Nif running around and putting another ward down. So he's doing exactly what we're mentioning. He's trying to make sure that they don't get invaded upon, but our pink ward does go down out of Dragonborns, and this really applies a lot of pressure to SK.
And I wasn't sure whether Nif was going to go hunting for that one, but instead we see the pink ward going down. There wasn't a full ward. It wasn't the Explorer ward put out there. I wasn't sure if they were going to bait it with the Explorer. It was a proper ward bent down. So the pings continuing to go down. SK well aware of the position of Dragonborns, and they do put the ward in the bush. That ball keeping the position to make sure it was cleared, make sure it was safe for Nif. And there's a lot of ward placement early on. We've seen this from a few teams in America as well. A lot of early wards. I specifically remember CLG. They placed about 6 wards against Team Stalemate in the game 1.
Yeah, because they really want to make it so their jungler can get an easy route. You don't want to get invaded upon it anyway. I mean, we have Maluna on the Jarvan. He's so strong early on. They actually are going to invade on that top side. Looks like they will be able to steal away that blue. As host and a mover, they push up here.
Straight onto a trap.
Yeah, straight onto a trap. And actually might get caught here as they run around the side, and they do engage.
Oh, and you can see immediately Nif's going to go, hey, puts the grasping root down, puts a lot of damage down towards mover, and that's going to force them away. They can't get around the backside to get those golems. And SK Gaming being very defensive there, and that trap be working its wonders. We do see Kevin coming round and realizes immediately the blue buff is gone.
Yep, he steals away perfectly, ended up not using that smite, so he still has available. Could see some very early ganks, but what he needs to do now is make sure that his own blue doesn't get taken away. They have really good ward coverage to prevent that. And Damon, looking at what's going to happen here with the action, you're seeing it happen right now. Dragonborns, they're going to be zoning out SK here. Obviously, Candy Panda does have the range to really, get that CS, but Draven does so much damage. You saw right there, 1 hit took away 1 complete bar, plus the bleed on top of that. And Hosen, as we saw in the LCS qualifiers, is an exceptional Draven.
Yeah, unlike the rest of us mere mortals, when we follow those axes, we just look at them and we get pretty much tunnel visioned. We see the axe is going to land over here and we just go into it like a sheep. He seems to have great controls, great micromanagement, and you can see he's keeping the pressure down towards Candy Panda. It's the stun axe. He's going for a different target. Is he going to be able to get it? There's a shot. Yes, he will. There's first blood for Hosan. Oh, the passive nearly caught him out there. Did have to use the barrier and just about keeps himself safe.
That's Squeal Demon. But yeah, great play by Dragonborns. I was totally expecting Mover to do that because they have that early game damage. They have a squishy Zyra to go up against. And as long as they land that stun, she's going to get blown up. And now without that flash, if they can land another stun or even have Maluna come down, it's going to really apply a lot of pressure to SK's AED support lane.
And we do see Hossein backing off, who's going to make use of that early gold. He's actually going to keep the pressure on down the bottom there now. I'll tell a lie. Just going to catch me out. I thought he was going to back off. Ocelot now in this mid lane versus Shushe. Light binding going out. Not going to catch him. We do see Maluna Dragon striking in there, but instead he just backs off. We do see down the bottom the horse is amazing and he's going in for the kill, but instead the ward is there and Dragonborns back away.
Yeah, they clearly didn't want to give him a lick there as he had that good ward coverage. Just prevent that from coming in. But still, looking at Maluna real quick, just onto Jarvan, since we talk about how strong and crucial he is early game. He's actually running some flat armor pen, sitting at 12 flat with 80% on top of that. So he wants to get even a little bit of more damage, which we've seen a lot more people do now. Because they changed the way flat pen works with percent, it's obviously a lot more, it's a lot better to get some flat mixed in with some percent-wise now. But still, also, he shouldn't have too much of a hard time here in the mid lane, but he does Urkibot coming in for a gank.
So we can see he's coming straight towards it, forces the flash away from Shushe there, and that does mean that flash is down, so potentially see a return gank on this one, as of course got that ghost, so that horse will be very speedy later on when he canters into battle. As it is right now, though, we see triple Doran's Blade from Hosan. That axe is gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's a very ballsy play on his part because he wants to control that lane, and by doing by having those 3 Doran's Blades, the 15 health on hit, he's easily able to control it. He has that sustain to his counterpart who doesn't have that at all, just has the 2 Doran's Blades, needs the extra health to survive. They have complete control of this lane, and we have to see Hercubot come down here and help them, or they're going to keep struggling. But they are taking their double golems, trying to keep their farm up. And in the meantime, the top side, you're seeing Maluna, he's waiting in that bush, trying to make some sort of play on the Kevin because he knows his bot lane is fine.
Oh, and you can see Spontex played a fantastic game in the live qualifiers, played Darius in that. And it seems to be working out well for him again here, keeping the bleed on the minions, keeping them poked down. Maluna just lingers. He's been there for a long time, though, so he's losing out a lot. Also, we do see the horse making his way towards there. Oh, yes, Maluna is indeed stood on it. Dazzle on towards Candy Panda there. Damage goes down by that top lane. Maluna is stood there for a long, long time, but he's on top of a ward. And that's going to give his position away. Now he realizes it, yeah, and he backs away. Keeping himself busy. Hosan keeping the pressure on that bottom lane. There goes Maluna backing off. The mid lane, meanwhile, you can see the backing off. Ooh, Shushay trying to get away from that one. Very much even in the CS across the board. You can do see, though, the bottom lane is really where the difference is happening. Hosan just keeping up that pressure on that bot lane.
Yeah, great job on their part, knowing they have that early game lockdown. The CS lead is just getting bigger and bigger for them. And we even have Tarek, who's being very aggressive because they got that first blood. He had that early assist. He was able to get a couple of extra wards. He got a pink one just to make it so if Maluno does want to come down, he has an easy gank. And as well, it makes SK play very passive at the bottom.
So, as it stands, we do see the pink ward being picked up, as well as that Fortitude pot, and a double Doran's Blade now for Spontex. So we'll see what he does. Maluno, he's been looking for these ganks for a long, long time. Is he losing out too much?
Well, with that blue still and able to get the rest of his buffs, not too much, because he's still doing decently well in levels. He's level 5 compared to his counterpart, who still is level 4. Hercuback going for a gank on the mid lane and actually might get countered by Maluno.
Well, we're seeing him poking around, but again, not going for it, though. Just sniffing around there. Massive creep wave being cleared out by Spontex. That's going to give him a good chunk of gold. As it stands, Giant's Belt and Fortitude Pot. So both top laners keeping that Fortitude Pot now in their bag, should they have any late ganks coming in. Shushay very low on hit points and mana right now. Going to get forced to go back.
Yeah, they get some free farm over to Maluno for that, though. I mean, we were talking about earlier if he's falling behind, but he was in the top lane for quite a bit, soaked up some XP. And something that's really interesting is that we saw Hercubot running Jarvan yesterday. We saw him at the Dragon Pit going over the wall to get into the backside to go for some ganks. We haven't really seen that happen just yet for Maluno this time, but still, he's keeping up in levels. He'll be 6 fairly soon. His ganks going to get that much more deadly on any lane that doesn't have some sort of flash. Blue buff here, going to go over to Asa, much needed, as he will. I'm assuming he's going to be going for that challenge as he's sitting on 1,600 gold for that extra magic resist so he cannot get blown up by Shushay.
You see the advantage in their bot lane now is being continued on there as Hosan comes back in. He's got the Berserker Greaves now. Candy Panda hasn't even got any boots, so he's got to be very careful now with Mover coming back down there. One Dazzle would certainly be the end of him if Hosan were to lock onto him. The question is, has he wasted too much, or will that pressure be enough from Bino's triple Doran's Blade? Would he have been better off maybe saving up that gold, maybe going towards early BF sword?
Well, it just really depends on how much of an advantage he gets over Caitlyn and CS. He's sitting at 16 right now, 17, still keeping Caitlyn zoned off of all these minions.
Double axes, he's flying them now.
It's beautiful. It really is.
It's just, I mean, I can't do that.
I'm just always...
Not going to lie. Oh, he's throwing his ultimate out there, actually trying to steal away the golems. Didn't manage to get there, though.
I'm just looking at him juggling those two axes, and I'm just like, I would totally mess that up if that was me.
I completely would screw that up, no problem at all. But as it stands, he has managed to keep up the pressure. 63 to 44 CS, a big advantage being gained there. Meanwhile, in this top lane, we do see Kevin against Spontex, and well, we see Maluna coming in, but a Shadow Dash away will get slowed down from Maluna there. Oh, and just gets flashes away from the apprehend from Spontex.
And we see a kind of an interesting pickup over to Awesome. Now he has a Seeker's Arm Guard, so he's going to be going for that Zonius eventually, and it's not a bad item. It gives it some extra armor when he's against such a heavy AD team and such a heavy shred team when you have Tarek on it. And the spot lane still being very aggressive, but the thing is, I mean, he's not really zoning much. He's just forcing the mini wave into the turret, and Candy Pen is doing a great job of keeping all that CS.
Well, Move is taking a lot of damage there, a lot of pressure from the double plant down from Nif, but of course, the more plants he puts down, Hosan just says, thanks, I'll have a few more gold, if you don't mind. Because they are giving him gold every time he clears the mountain. He just throws multiple axes on the goat. He's clearing it, no problem.
And he has a 700 gold over Candy Pen. You see one hit right there with that bleed. It just really chips away at his health. As long as he can keep landing a couple more of those and we see some sort of a stun. I mean, it doesn't matter who it's really on. If you can land on Nif, it's obviously going to be better since Candy Panda does have that cleanse. But if Maluno's just involved in this bot lane at all, I mean, they have some guaranteed kills.
Well, the thing is, I was actually sat with Candy Panda earlier on, and they were talking about, the AD carries, and he's like, oh, I'm so bored, I'm always playing Caitlyn. And they were talking, well, they said, well, Draven is a possibility. And they were basically talking about, well, if you play Draven, you automatically know where you're going to be stood. You can predict where they're going to go to, but that's all well and good, but you can't seem to stand and trade against them.
Oh yeah, there's just no way. I mean, he's one of those AD carries that is just like an Urgot or Twitch. Has that he excels at that early game. You can't trade with him in any way. Any sort of sustain would be pretty good against him. I mean, Soraka wouldn't be terrible because you can silence him, you can heal up and prevent that damage. But then against Sona as well, I mean, the only thing is that she's very squishy. So when you're against a Taric, you have to be very careful, very cautious, and that is what makes that such a deadly combo. We do actually have, looks like a lane switch here, so they want to punish Ocelot as Hosan and Move are going to sit in this middle lane, and Shusei's going to head down towards the bottom.
Oh, and you can see the pressure being put on towards Ocelot, having to pop out that shield onto himself as well, get defensive. And as it is, it may mean he misses out on that siege rune. Let's see if he can pick it up. That's what he's going to be wanting to do. Yes, he does get it, which I didn't see whether Ocelot took that or whether Hecarim did.
We've seen this happen before, actually, against Ocelot, where it was against EG versus them in the first game, where they shut him down by forcing the AD carry and support there. Actually, no, sorry, they had Crepo roaming around with Lulu, which really shut him down when he was playing his Cassin. So they're trying to do that again, shut him down. And if you shut him down, you're going to pretty much create a really easy opportunity for you mid-game to take an advantage.
Well, also, Shusei going down that bottom lane, he's going to be farming out those waves. Maluna, again, sitting around, see if he can land any ganks, but we do see Ocelot backing off this time, and the pressure on towards his top lane. This time, Kevin, though, on the turret, is going to get pressured in. He's going to have to Shadow Dash and catch himself at the right time. Shadow Dashes. Maluna's taking a lot of turret damage here. Is it going to be 2 enough? The Ignite comes in, doesn't manage to get the slam down. Is the bleed enough? Spontex does finish it off. There's the kill. Kevin goes down. You see Hercubot trying to get back in, but it's too late.
And unfortunately, Spontex wasn't able to go Space Jam on his backside right there because didn't get the reset, but still, great job by them. They're shutting down Kevin right now. Obviously, he's keeping up in CS pretty well. And as the game does progress, it's going to be hard for Spontex to kill him,
Ocelot.
but still.
Ocelot caught out there. The dazzle comes through, but you can see immediately responses, and they do manage to catch the shockwave. Pulls move there, back in, but it's not going to be enough. And now Hosan keeping the aggression down on towards Nif. Is it going to be enough pressure? You can see every time one of those axes land, it does a big chunk of damage, but he's got no mana left. He's just got to keep the auto damage of those axes flying.
Hercubot coming in from the side. They might be able to create a play here with no flash currently up on Hosan.
He's going to be coming around the side there. He has got Ghost available. Will he come around? Yes. He's not going to pop the ultimate, though. He's not going to keep them back. And, well, they managed to defend away.
And one thing we should kind of mention about Hecarim, since we don't see him much in Europe, but we see him in North America, and I think Kobe was touching on this. Oh, Candy Panda getting very low right there, but we see, we had Kobe talking about it, is that Hecarim has that ability to not be stopped when going to the back line of the enemy team. That ultimate with the fear is just so devastating. It creates an opportunity for you to get towards the back, which will be very hard for Draven.
They're going down in towards the bottom here. You can see Maluna coming around the side now. Hercubot's going to have to do some great work here to keep them away from Candy Panda. Maluna thought about tower diving. That turret is very, very low, but they're not going to go for it. They're not going to flick the switch and go. That's interesting because that turret could have gone in one hit.
Yeah, and that's very true. And that might have been a play that might come back to bite them because, as you were mentioning, the turret very low, 1 hit or 2 hurts and it's going to be down. Candy Panda very low. You're going to be able to shut him down even further. Instead, they back off, going to play a little bit safe here because they do have a nice lead. They are up 1,700 gold at this point. They are winning pretty much every lane as well. So, as it is, Dragonborns in the lead. You mentioned the gold. It is 1,500 in the lead currently for the Dragonborns. 116 to 103 in that top lane. You can see the mid lane's actually pretty even, although the mid lane is not facing off against each other because we do see the spinning axes of Hosan. 114 CS to 96 of Candy Panda's Caitlyn. So champion we're so used to seeing him on, but as it is, he's been out-jostled by Hosan as those axes flip back and forward. He's building up towards that Infinity Edge. Bloodthirster being built by Candy Panda. And how is this actually going to build in as we get towards the mid and the late game between these two AD carriers? It's really just going to depend on who can get on top of who first. We do have Dragon potentially being started, but going back to what you're asking, if SK can get on top of Hosan, he's going to die. I mean, all he has that flash and barrier to get away. That's about it. He does have that E to pretty much separate the team. And then on the other side, Caitlyn has a cleanse, has a flash, has a 90 cabinet to get away. So it's really easy for SK to get on top of Hosan, and it's not really as easy the other way around. But you do have Maluna to get in there to pop that ultimate, that Cataclysm. Then you do have the Apprehend out of Darius, and you do have the stun out of Mover, and also the snare out of Shusei. So it really just depends on who's better and who can excel at catching the other team's AD carry. Well, the team kill there for Dragonborns. They do manage to get themselves the goal. You are never going to let that one down. No, not a chance. That is for damn sure. We see the ultimate coming out from Shusei, just keeping that wave clearance down. And, it's important with it actually for Lux. You just keep that cooldown on constantly usage. It will get limited down to about 25 seconds towards the end. You just keep on zapping away, clearing those waves. Use it every possible moment. And actually saw Froggen saying earlier on, people will never understand when he uses it purely at random locations, just points it at random things and just making
pure sight. It's also as well as seen purely if you manage to just get something by luck now and again. It's available, so why not use it?
Yeah, exactly. It's such a low cooldown. You can pretty much use it twice in a team fight. And, you know, changing the topic just a little bit, because we've seen this, we talked about before at the analysis desk. We never mentioned it actually on camera, which is kind of surprising myself. Oh, Kenny Pan actually getting caught here with the light binding.
He's going to get caught out with the light binding. Will they follow it up? The dazzle does come through. Shushe is going to throw out the shield and just scare him. I'm not sure. Oh, have a shield.
But going back to what I was trying to mention is that Hosan and Candy Panda are both running 1% crit. And it's because in that lane phase, if you get that one lucky crit back in Season 2 when you actually had crit from your mastery tree, it could really swing the lane in your own favor. So I don't think we've actually seen one crit happen during that lane phase, but still, it's kind of cool to see how the AD carries are evolving with the way the meta is changing. We've seen a lot more armor pen built up flat-wise, and the crit. We do have Hercubot coming in from the bottom, but I don't think he's actually going to be able to create an opportunity here.
Well, the slow gets thrown down. He's not going to be able to create the opportunity. They do back off, light binding thrown back out, and well, using the luminescence to just keep him away as it is in towards the top lane. Kevin's going to get apprehended. Is it going to be enough? A bleed full on stacks there. Spontex will keep the pressure down. The turret is pretty low, but he isn't going to be enough to dive on towards him. And where you can see Kevin is tanky enough now. He has that Sunfire Cape.
And it's still really interesting to see Dragonborns, the way they're changing their strategy up. That turret so low. But you see the support and the AP carry at the bottom laner now. You see Hosan in mid. He's getting his race pretty much every time they're up, and he's also applying a lot of pressure to Ocelot. So he's trying to take that advantage that he had early on and apply it into these other lanes. We do have Maluno come into the top, so trying to go for a gank on Kevin, but he still has that flash available and obviously that taunt.
Wait, Spontex maybe trying to bait him in there. We do see him once again catching the hooks, getting the slow down. Is he going to apprehend him? We will do it at the last minute, keeping that bleed fully on Kevin there. The top lane, of course, is where the focus is at the moment. Kevin is just going to clear out those waves, and they're all going to back away.
And I have to say, we saw the same kind of play out of Maluno in the first game of the season. He wasn't really too effective in terms of his ganks. He was playing Shen that time, didn't really get around the map. I mean, he was there, but he never actually got a gank off. And the same thing's been happening with Jarvan, which you can't really afford to do because you're so strong early on with your ganks, and you tend to fall off a little bit as the game does progress. But obviously, if you can use that Cataclysm perfectly, it won't matter how many ganks you didn't do in the beginning because it all comes down to that one fight.
Well, it's now 162 CS to 125 between the two AD carries. And as it stands, we see a little bit of a dive in there on towards Kevin. Not too sure what Maluno is really planning on there, trying to bait them in. Don't think he's going to be able to put damage down, but Move's going to get caught out in this mid lane. He gets dropped by SK Gaming, and Hercubot does manage to take the kill. They turn and burn. They're running towards the top. They realize there's a three-man stack coming up there. They're not going to make it in time, though. So that will be the top turret going to Dragonborns.
It's great play by SK there to get that one kill. And even though they weren't able to save that top tower, they have Candy Panda pushing the bottom turret right now. He's been by himself for quite a while. He's behind quite a bit in CS, but it doesn't matter at this point because he will be catching up. And we still have Dragonborns with a three-man push on this top side. Hercubot finally going to be coming around the mid lane, though. It is a 1v2 right now.
Yeah, we saw Hosan throwing that ultimate down the bottom, trying to clear out. Meanwhile, down the bottom here, you can see the top lane dive. Cataclysm being jumped on towards them, and Kevin just being dropped in the middle of it. Just absolutely decimated.
Oh, Ocelot's ghosting in.
Well, Ocelot is going to ghost him, but it's a 3v1. Are you insane, Ocelot? This crazy Spaniard going to go continuing through. He's not going to have the damage. Instead, the light bind is going to get thrown out. Now you see the bottom two does get taken down by Candy Panda, and they are forced to back away.
Gotta give him credit, though. He tried to create a play there, and if it worked out for them, it would have been amazing. Maybe picking up those 3 kills. They got that bot turret by keeping that aggression, not letting Dragonborns back out any sooner. They were able to keep their second tier 2, or the tier 2 turret alive at the top side. And still, Hosan, I mean, look at his farm. It's just getting leaps and bounds beyond Candy Panda, and that's really going to create a problem because if he can keep that early advantage as the game progresses, he will be able to go head-to-head against Candy Panda. He can definitely take him on in a 1v1. And then again, it still comes down to his position in the late game and how well each team can jump on those AD carries.
Well, now he has that Infinity Edge completed, of course, as well. It's going to be that much more damage coming out. So it's 2-1 in terms of turrets. First turret finally went down. SK Gaming picking that one up in the bottom while all that play happened. 3,000 gold advantage to Dragonborns, though. And 3-1 in kills. 19 minutes gone in this game. Still a slow kill game, but definitely a little bit more lively than the games we've seen so far. Spontex looking to create a play here, but the blue buff taken away by Ocelot. They were a little bit too late from that one. And I think Shushe was ready and waiting to maybe try and snipe that away. Instead, throws out the light binding, tries to catch something from it. Nothing going to come, though. Dragon is up in 30 seconds, and Dragonborns are maneuvering into position.
Yeah, it looks like they want to try to make a big play here on this next Dragon. I mean, Shushay, his ultimate cooldown is not too long. It's sitting at 48 seconds, so it would have been back up about 20 seconds after the Dragon came back up. Still a good, you know, it's a smart plan on him to not use it right there. If they can burst this Dragon down, get it very quickly, they can extend their goal lead even further because they've kept this lead this entire game so far. But it's just going to depend on how well they can do that through the rest of the game. We still have Shen in the top lane pushing, and it's really going to create a problem for Dragonborn. They're going to have to react to that, or maybe just give up the Dragon. Depends on what they do here.
We can
see. Hercubot.
He's placing that ward out. Ward clears out. As it stands, Kevin's getting that free farm on the top. He has got Stan United, of course, to come in and get in there. Spontex going to clear out that turret. All that ward is going to get picked up. Nobody got any pink wards left at the moment, though, so every time that ward gets placed down, it does get cleared, and they have got full vision. Ocelot putting that ball in on towards Shushay. Shushay trying to catch Ocelot with the light binding. Instead, the Dragon being taken down very low. Dragonborns do pick up the kill. Are they going to turn it around, though? Hercubot's going to go aggressive. Gets in, gets the fear down. He does manage to catch on towards Maluna, but not enough. You can see the Lugeman Essence catching out there. Spontex diving on towards Nif as well. And now you can see Hercubot taking down very low. Cataclysm. Shockwave gets popped out. Spontex dives in towards Kevin. Spontex very low, but Hosan is just burning the damage from the side there. And everybody backs away. A 1-for-1. Hosan, do not carry on this foolish task. He's going to try and dive in. Ace in the hole comes out. He doesn't manage to get blocked off, but it doesn't matter because the SK Gaming, can they take an advantage from this one? Can they take the middle turret? Light binding comes flashing across there. The rest of Dragonborns reacting to it, and they should defend off this turret. Very close engage, still no clear advantage.
Dragonborns should engage right here. They have Shushay's ultimate back up again. They could completely blow up someone. Unfortunately, going to miss right there, but that was such an interesting fight because you saw Hercubot zone 4 members of Dragonborns. He had Spontex alone in that Dragon Pit, but even with 4 members of SK hitting him, he didn't die from it. I mean, he was completely healthy, has a Giant's build, doesn't even have that tanky of items, but it just shows you, you know, kind of how far behind SK is in terms of damage. Obviously, they didn't use all their ultimates or anything like that to kind of burst him down, but still, great job by Dragonborns to turn that fight around. Shushay with that ultimate, it really scares you because that can really put down a lot of bursts that you're not expecting.
Well, there is a Zeal being picked up by Hosan, so there's axes are going to be a little bit quicker. Rabadon's Deathcat was picked up, of course, by Candy Pan. It's got a very, very quick cooldown, though. Shushay, of course, with that blue buff on him, and the Fiends and Holy Grail is definitely going to be clearing the waves as quick as possible. 4-2 in terms of kills. Currently, Dragonborns, of course, this is their second game in the tournament. They are 0-1 currently, their first game against EG. So it's a little tricky for them. I mean, Dragonborns, their first few games in this tournament, coming up against first and second currently in the league. That's a big ask, and as it is, though, they are certainly facing up to the task in Season 3 League of Legends Championship Series.
Yeah, when they played against EG, they did a phenomenal job early game. It just started to slip away from as the game progressed. Right now, they're doing a great job early on yet again, and hopefully they worked out that kink and kind of take this advantage and roll with it. The thing is, the longer the game does progress, the more problems they're going to have with that because Lux obviously should, quote-unquote, fall off as long as the other team builds tanky and builds enough health to pretty much survive the burst that she can put out.
Well, we do see Dragonborns with this 4,000 gold lead. A little snipe off there, catching Nif, just catching him by a whisker. I didn't say whisker, he's a vine, I guess. Yeah. I think a weed or something like that, just coming off the side there. Whatever you'd like to call it as the plant. A root, maybe. A root, yeah. A root. We could go with a root. We do see the little cupcakes being put down by Caitlyn, being gratefully received by Mover as he goes around. As it stands, we do see Maluna and Spontex. They were trying to sneak around the back, trying to get a play here towards SK Gaming. They need to be careful they don't completely cusp around them. Instead, they are not going to go for it. And Candy Panda, again, taking some damage from Mover there. Very risky play. Only one light binding that comes out there, but Shushay getting sniped on, using the ace in the hole, just as you would. That Shushay's ultimate, I can't even remember the name of it. Quick shot, he's just going to be cussing my name later on, I tell you. Oh, it is Final Spark, of course. Thank you very much.
But right now, Dragonborns are kind of making a slight misstep. The aggression they're trying to put on this turret is kind of backfiring on them. As you see in the top lane, Kevin pushing by himself. His CS has gone beyond his counter-opponent Spontex, and he's getting so tanky that he's going to be really a menace to deal with, just like his Olaf, what we saw versus EG.
They're going to collapse around him here. Maluna is coming around the backside. Oh, he's going to get spotted by the ward. He goes Shadow Dashes across. Maluna doesn't manage to land the slow instead. That actually may make an opening for SK Gaming in the mid lane.
Yep, it should, definitely. And this is the part where Dragonborns has to make a play. And the thing is, with this...
They're not going to make it.
Well, the thing is, with a Hecarim, you're really kind of hesitant to do that because he has that ultimate that you can't stop. It's basically an unstoppable force, and it fears you. So if he can separate your team and get that fear onto Host and force him to run away, not do so much damage, they can just keep putting the pressure on, and then Kevin, you can just teleport in if anyone even gets low on his team. So you have to send someone up there to kind of counter him, but you need Spontex in these fights. You need that burst out of his ultimate.
Tell you what, with those boots and mobility, he's definitely going to be setting a cantering record as he goes ploughing in there. But Dragonborns, they may well have spotted an opening here, and there's not a lot Ocelot can do. Cataclysm diving on towards him. Their ultimate being thrown straight out there. They're going to force him away. They should potentially have focused on towards the turret, though. Hosan's in trouble now. He's going to get focused down, but the shield, the barrier is not going to be enough. He's just one more hit, and Hercubot manages to pick up the kill. Now they're going to turn it on towards Move Air. Move Air flashes away. They're going on towards Maluna. Maluna bashes away as well, and the damage from Dragonborns was non-existent because they should have just surely focused on the turret. Instead, they went and got greedy and went for the kill.
They ain't got time for that, Demon.
Ain't nobody got time for
exactly.
that.
But still, that just shows the power of Hecarim because he had Hosen locked up right there. We saw Caitlyn falling up with the Piltover Peacemaker, and just they piled all that damage just to erase him from this battle. And if they can keep doing that, they will have this lead that they need, and they will be able to apply a lot of pressure around the map. We saw Kevin pretty much going head-to-head against Spontex in the top side. It didn't allow him to get there, and if he was there, if we did see Darius there, it would have been a completely different fight.
Well, Jason, we've seen this many times from the up-and-coming teams. They had this advantage in the lane phase, but they can't turn it into their advantage as the team fights begin. And now, slowly but surely, we see that gold lead is starting to disappear. We're 20 seconds away from the next Dragon fight. Are SK Gaming in the position where they want to fight this one?
Yeah, I mean, they're building tank enough to do that. The thing is, if you look at what happened so far, Dragonborns, they got 2 turrets first, they got 2 dragons, and yet they're still not really winning the fights. They haven't taken that advantage, like you were saying, and used it. SK, as long as they keep stalling the game out, they're building tanky enough. We have a lot of damage building up on Ocelot. He has a Death Cap, Seeker's Arm Guard, almost has an Archangel Staff if he decides to build that up next. And they have the tankiness on Kevin, they have the tankiness on Hercubot to really kind of counter any burst that Dragonborns is going to put out onto him. It's just really all about controlling Spontex and controlling Shushay, not allowing them to get their ultimates on the same target, and that is the 3rd Dragon of the game going over to Dragonborns.
Yeah, SK Gaming definitely not going to fight for it because they were not in position anywhere near quick enough. Dragonborns had that one locked down and got straight in. Kevin, meanwhile, farming out in that top lane. He's going to keep the pressure on towards that top turret, and they're going to have to do something about this one. He's going to start putting damage down onto it. Are Dragonborns going to keep pressuring this middle turret, or will they get rotated round? Looks like they're going to have to focus on him.
That's what's so dangerous about Shen, because he can just keep split pushing that entire time, and it forces the other team to react. And even if you do react, you don't have someone that can stop him directly. He'll just ult into his team. So it pretty much creates a lot of confusion, a lot of decision making that can always go wrong for you as a team trying to figure out what to do against a split pushing Shen.
A lot of distraction, I believe, is the word you were grasping for, I think, there. But as it stands, it is still Dragonborns with the lead. It's only ever so slightly, but it's a 3,000 gold lead nonetheless. And we do see the defensive line. This mid lane, this mid 2 turrets have been very hard fought over. Nobody really wants to give them up. Kevin continuing that split push, like you mentioned. He's got to be getting very close to getting that Warmogs completed now. And this is the role we've seen Kevin doing so often. He's just constantly keeping that split push going, keeping that pressure on towards that top turret. And not many teams have really reacted to it. It's a slow grinding process of a tactic. I'm not going to lie, I absolutely hate the split push when I watch it. It is definitely a boring thing to cast, but it does work.
It's effective, and that's what teams are going for. They want to get that early advantage in the lead. They want to get the early score, because SK, you know, they're 3-2 right now. They want to get that extra win to stay in the top 2. And the thing is, Dragonborns, they could pick up their first win here. They definitely have the opportunity to do it if they could just get that one catch onto SK and then open up that turret. We do have Maluna still waiting on the sideline in the middle lane, trying to make something happen, but Kevin and Spontex still just going head-to-head, butting heads constantly, and yet no one's really getting the advantage in that top lane.
Well, I think they're just lathering themselves up so they can rub back once to one another, because honestly, there's not a lot happening. There's no damage coming out, so I don't know what they're doing. They might be just
hugging it out.
Hugging it out, right, up that top lane. I think that's the safest word we can use probably on air. As it stands at the moment, though, the pressure in towards this mid-turret continues, and, you know, that massive advantage that Hotan had built up, you can see is slowly but surely whittling away. Candy Panda, every time he gets a chance, he sneaks off, picks up a little bit more CS. It's down to a 40 CS gap right now. That was at 60 at one point, and still, Dragonborns yet to get on towards this mid lane, despite the fact Shushe is wave clearing every single chance, which is obviously where the CS advantage is being gathered up, because Candy Panda is picking him up every time they push on towards this turret.
Yeah, Candy Panda's been doing a great job of just getting back in this game. They're keeping that bot lane pushed up right now, as you do see Hosen over there try to fend it off. They keep Kevin pushing the top side, so they're really forcing Dragonborns to not be aggressive. They're forcing them to be defensive, because that gives SK the ability to be in the driver's seat here, and that's exactly what they want, and that's what they're pulling off, and it's such a great job by them.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
I did not.
I saw it. 666, the number of Hosan, as every time his crit lands, that's what it was. He is actually the devil incarnate, Hosan, now. Those chest bumps of the Satan are going to come out soon, but as it stands at the moment, they are returning, and he's gone back to buy. What has Satan bought? He's bought himself a Phantom Dancer.
Perfect item, actually, for him, because those axes, like we were mentioning, it's so easy to predict where it's going to be, and if there's minions there to block you, it's going to give you a tough time to actually pick it up. But with that Phantom Dancer, you can run through them and just grab his axe, keep his damage up really high, keep that DPS as high as possible, because they're going to need that, as Shusha yet again using that ultimate just to clear the wave out. And still, Kevin being aggressive in that top lane. The bot lane's being pushed up again, up against SK, but obviously Candy Panda will go down there in a second just to push it back out.
Hosen actually trying to pull that Ace-Null onto Shusha there, and Shusha was backing off. He's like, seriously, dude, just leave me alone. I wanted to go back and buy, but instead he was not allowed, and now we see SK Gaming starting to put the pressure on. Meanwhile, in the top lane, they just keep lathering themselves up, rolling around in the grease. I don't know what they are. It's oiled up fat ladies fighting. I don't even know where I'm going with this one, but as it stands, they're not doing a great deal back and forth. Let's put it this way, it's pretty damn boring watching these teams just go back and forth. We want some action right now.
I just got a disgusting image in my head when you were talking about that. Just like oil wrestling. Anyways, though, we do see a blue buff picked up by Shusha right there, giving them extra cooldown reduction. But, you know, it's a dam that has a crack in it, and it has to break at some point for either team. It's going to happen. It's going to be very explosive, and it's really going to go pretty much from there to what you want to see. You want to see these fights breaking out, and I feel like it's going to happen very shortly. The Dragon will be up in a minute. We have 3 Dragons currently for Dragonborns. SK, they're in a position to stop that. They're in a position to say, hey, stop doing that. Stop taking the Dragons. We want our own, and we want to push some sort of advantage.
Stop indeed. And well, look at that. Look, the Dragon Timer is back up again. I feel I've seen this Dragon Timer pop up a few times now, and every single time I think, right, okay, the fight's going to happen. But no, it doesn't. It's 31 minutes. It's 41,000 to 45,000. We're 7 kills in the entire game. Right now, Monte Cristo is getting his playbook out. He's just comparing this to Korea, and he's like, what is going on right now in the EU scene? We want to know as well. Peke talked about it earlier. People need to grow some big balls, and as it is at the moment, they don't seem to have them. They don't want to fight. They don't want to risk anything, and it's understandable, I guess. We are in week 2. Things are getting serious, and you know, when the playoffs start to happen, it's going to happen later on in the team. But sooner or later, one of these teams is going to have to take the stand. They're going to have to go aggressive and just catch people out.
And it's coming to that point where you have the items you need. It's just all about your synergy as a team, because the gold lead isn't too heavily in favor of either team right now. We still have Kevin and the top lane yet again
he's going to get his turret.
Yeah, he's going to get it this time.
He's now that strong, that tanky, that he doesn't give a monkeys that the actual turret's shooting him. And finally, oh my lord! Shushe finally catches 2 people out there. And Ocelot and Nif just removed from the map. That's what we're all waiting for. Finally, that final spark does land, find its home, and that's going to be the middle turret gone. And now Hosan actually going 1-to-1 with Kevin in that top lane. It is going to be the Dragon also being soloed by Maluna. Suddenly, everything happens at once.
And that is the dam breaking right there. And I was trying to find, actually in the mid lane, we do see engage on a Candy Panda again. Shed ulting in though.
Bontek's trying to get the apprehend on towards Candy Panda. He's got him fully bleeding. He can't get the dunk though, because he manages to get away with that 90 caliber net. Now Hercubot's going to get dunked on. It's not enough. He ults away. The bleed is on. Will he go down? No, he will. Yes, he will. The horse is down. He's now a burger.
Oh, God. And the dam completely just broke. All the fights breaking out everywhere. And Dragonborns coming out ahead with this 8-3 now. They have such a huge gold advantage, and they're pushing this aggression really hard. They're going to get this inhibitor turret, and this game is looking very good for Dragonborns.
Finally, the inhibitor is going to fall. Everything suddenly collapsing at once, and Dragonborns grew some big hairy Malonies. I don't know what to call them. But my God, suddenly they did get it. Maluna goes aggressive. There goes the laser. The final spark once again. The Zyra ultimate catches the shockwave, pulls in the Dragonborns though. But a Cataclysm just diving in. Nif is going to get dunked down. He hasn't got it available. Instead, Spontex picks up the kill. The inhibitor goes down. And Mover backs away, just going to keep themselves defensive. It's 9-3. I've been waiting for the kills to happen, and they've all come in the last minute. Fantastic performance, Dragonborns, keeping the pressure on towards SK Gaming.
And we saw this exact same thing happen with Giants versus Gambit Gaming. Giants had some sort of advantage in the beginning. It started to slip a little bit out of their hands, but out of nowhere, they just created so much confusion around the map. They created so many kills for themselves. Dragonborns following the same suit, playing very well right now. And Hosan wasn't even there for that fight. I mean, he was in base, buying, pushing his lane. So just think of how much different it would be, well, how much even more one-sided it would be for Dragonborns if he was there. But they're looking very solid to close this game out. I mean, you could see a potential Baron coming right now. It turned from a 4,000 gold lead to a 10,000 gold lead almost, and that is just insane.
And we talked about how long, that 20-minute period where Candy Panda slowly clawed that advantage back. Look at it.
It's gone.
60 CS, gone, completely disappeared. So we're going to check out a replay here of what exactly happened. I don't even know where the replay will be. Let's have a look.
That's what happened.
That is what happened. That really was the turning point right there. One, they got caught out. They both got caught in that light binding. Absolutely decimated there from Shushe. Fantastic. And this is what we talked about actually yesterday. That final spark, it's what took Candy Panda out yesterday, and really what was the big turning point for Froggen.
Yeah, I mean, you have to build some health to kind of counter that. And I remember looking at that fight and trying to see what happened to Oslo. Like, where was his body? And you saw him and Nif were pretty much standing right next to each other, lined up perfectly for the entire combo, and Shushe took advantage of that and just bursted them both down.
Well, Dragonborns now position themselves. Will they go for that Baron? There's not really a great deal of wards from SK Gaming. They've just been caught on the trot, as it were. And now you can see the axes are flying. And the hair is everywhere. And they are keeping the pressure on towards the Baron. They're going to see if they can plug that hole. And SK Gaming trying it. Maybe get caught in there. That's going to be a great caught out. Oh, and the axe is flying. And that damage is just chipping SK down completely. Burning all that damage down. They just health bars just melting. Again, Candy Panda caught out there. Uses ace in the hole, but he just shields it completely off there. Shushe is protected from all the damage so far.
The thing is, though, Dragonborns now knows that cleanse is no longer up. We do see Hercubag trying to go for engage, but he misses that ultimate.
That is surely going to be fatal. The ultimate missing out. And that is just taking away any big chance they had, surely, at fighting for the Baron. Surely they're just going to have to back off and let this one go.
And the thing is that the mid lane is pushing with super minions. The bot lane is pushing right now. Dragonborns has so many cooldowns down for SK that they know they have free reign over this Baron. It's just a matter of time. And just like you said, they're going to take it on their own terms, and this gives them such a huge advantage right now. We could see the game closing out in about 5 minutes if Dragonborns can keep this aggression up. However, if they make that one slip-up, that one mistake that even Oslet said he's done multiple times against Fnatic, SK can and will get back in the game.
Yep, and here's the 40-minute mark. Remember, any big turnaround in kills could certainly lead to an inhibitor, at the very least, being taken down. But Dragonborns with that huge advantage now. And Hosan, with the Infinity Edge, the Bloodthirst, the Phantom Dancer, he is actually the Devil incarnate right now in this game, and he is doing a great chunk of damage. That Draven mask. Everybody wearing them right now on the Dragonborn team, honestly. He has got his brother of axes in there, Darius, and Spontex is backing off. And just look at Spontex. I mean, how tanky is he right now? More of the Malmortius, Randy and Zoman, and the Warmogs. My word, that guy is not going to die anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Darius. You don't really need to build damage on him. You can, obviously, with the, wow, I forgot the name, with the Malmortius. But as long as you build tanky, you survive long enough for your team to pretty much get someone low that you dunk them, and then you just pretty much get your reset. That's the whole thing, getting the resets over and over and over again. We do look at Shushe right now. He has a Liandry's Torment, which is kind of an interesting pickup on his part. Gives him a little bit of extra health, gives him some more AP. And it gives him, obviously that magic pen, but the dot from that doesn't seem like something that really will benefit him in the long run, because they're all about bursting you down. They're not about doing sustained damage. They just want to blow you up. But the Void Staff, such a perfect item for him to have. Any magic resist that SK gets pretty much is fueled out right now, and they need to build health to counter this. However, Candy Panda, and even though he's been keeping up in farm, he's 0-0-2. Only has 11,000 gold compared to his counterpart at 13,700. He can't afford to pick up the health he needs to get.
Well, what do SK Gaming need to do? Look at that, 1,000 that just hit for crit there. That is a lot of damage now that Spontex has, Hosan has. And SK Gaming, I'm not sure they want to defend this one. They are actually 4v3, so it's a potential chance that they can do, but we can see coming around the side there, it is going to be Shushay. Is going to back up towards the side. We do have Maluna as well. They are walking past the ward, so they're being spotted. And SK Gaming very much aware of the situation. They do back away. Their inhibitor has respawned, but they are going to lose out in this inner turret.
The thing is, SK, yes, they are on the back foot right now. However, look at their composition. They have the ability to easily win these fights. It's all about just synergizing their ultimates together. If you have Hercubot going, get a nice fear onto as many members as possible. Then you have, the AoE knockup from Zyra. You have the taunt from Kevin if you can land onto multiple targets. You have the pull-in from Ocelot. They can completely destroy Dragonborns. But with this Baron buff, it might just be a little bit too difficult. They need to kind of last it out. As you see right now, they're going to barely keep that inhibitor alive, it looks like. And that would be perfect if they can actually do that and defend it. But they're going to have to get up if Dragonborns makes any sort of push for it.
The last range minion, he can't quite get the hit on it. The range minion, they're just keeping it hanging on there. And the inhibitor has managed to stay in there. One more shot, one more axe, anything at all. That's all the Dragonborns need to land on it. Come on, Hosan, you can do it. Throw an axe at it. Just walk in there. He's going to stun on the trap. No, he doesn't need to because Shushay comes in and does it for him.
So I was waiting to hear you say, hit the damn inhibitor, as your signature phrase. But the bot lane is pushing up very heavily right now. That turret's going to go down. And they're going to get even more gold. I mean, it's almost at 10,000 with this turret. It easily will be. They don't have a lot of gold to spend because they bought right after that Baron, but they're going for the heavy push. They're going for the win right now.
They're making use of the Baron buff, and this is what we like to see. A team getting aggressive once they finally get it. Hosan puts the hurt down on towards the turret, and you can see just burning it down. Their max is flying. Then the final spark whipping off there, and Hosan, Hercubot, trying his best to find an opportunity to get that fear across the whole team. But Dragonborns, they separate the moment he comes near.
And that's exactly what they need to do. If they can prevent that fear from being the initiate for SK, they will win the fight. But SK, they have to hold on to this turret. They can't let another inhibitor fall. Hercubot coming in, those boots of mobility and home guard. I mean, he's fast enough. He gets extra attack damage from his speed. But the thing is that Kevin, the ultimate, it's perfect to have, but it takes a while for you to actually get in there and make some sort of impact. And with the burst that Dragonborn has, it's going to be too late before someone dies.
They're going for it. Looks like they're going to try and pick anything out here. No, they can't manage to get them as they back off, and instead Shushay does come off. He's going to throw out that final spark. He's just holding it off. Instead, they're going to clear the waves. Baron has worn off. That was the opportunity that SK were waiting for. They were trying to catch them the moment that Baron buff did wear out. Instead, Dragonborns are going to clear out all the resources on the map and back off and buy. And, well, they have a big chunk of gold to go and spend. Oh, they're going to dive in. Hosan's going to be the target. Oh, and he gets away. Beautifully done. Flashes just at the right moment from Hercubot.
And even with all that, still, SK played that flawlessly right there. They let the middle inhibitor go down again, which obviously you cannot afford to fight against a Baron up team, but they kept the bomb turret alive. They kept their other inhibitors free of being taken down. And with that, as long as they pick up like an Oracle or get some wards and put up their own jungle, they can create an opportunity to fight there where they will have the advantage. Shushay now, he's pushing up middle. He's 5 out of his 6 items right now. And how do you really stop a Lux in terms of the burst when she gets that final item sitting on that Doran's ring at the moment? Maluna picked up another dragon for his team, and they are just looking just so tanky and so strong.
15,000 gold for Hosan, 14,000, almost 15,000 for Shushay. They are way ahead in terms of gold and way ahead in terms of items. They have a big lead gouged out here from SK Gaming. It is 11,000 gold. 9-3 in kills, 7-3 in turrets. The inhibitor down, and it's SK Gaming's to try and win. The question is, can they do it? Or will they last it and drag it out any bit longer that SK Gaming can claw the way back into this game? As it is, Hercubot, we've still not seen him land that ultimate in the right spot. He's tried it a few times, and it's been flashed out of.
That's the thing, though. They haven't had a straight 5-on-5 team fight yet. I mean, if you look, SK was in the driving seat because they were forcing Dragonborn back with the split pushing they were doing, but they've never had that solid 5-on-5 initiate where SK can use all their abilities together and really take someone out from Dragonborn. So if they get a strong engage here, this still is anyone's game.
And that's surely a credit to Dragonborns. They don't want that 5v5 fight. They've avoided it. And when the action actually happened, it was simply down to getting 2 people getting caught out by that light binding and final spark.
And that's what set off the entire game for Dragonborns to get this big of a lead. So as long as they can keep holding on and create that opportunity, maybe even a 5-on-3 or 5-on-4, which we are seeing Spontex in the topside push, they will win that fight. It's just all about that one moment. I mean, against Copenhagen Wolves, when they were being pushed back the entire time, they got Cho'Gath down about half health, and because of that, Sven Skersen ended up having to run away. His entire team had to fall back, but SK with that one moment, that one yell of go, engage, they turn that game completely around, and that could happen yet again.
So, as it is, Dragonborns set themselves up, Baron up in 18 seconds' time. Hercubot taking a look around. Got to be careful. We don't see Maluna coming across. He did try and come through, and he's actually trying to keep the pressure on towards Hercubot. He would be a nice, juicy target for them. The final spark does come across, and Candy Panda taking half health already. And now you can see the bleed actually on towards him. The apprehend. The dunk on Ocelot. The dunk comes in, and now Spontex turns toward Candy Panda. The second dunk comes down. Draven gets the third dunk now, and he's just ripping the Scare Gaming apart. They're flashing away. Candy Panda saying, I don't want none of this. I'm going to get away. But it doesn't matter because it's going to be Luna that picks up the kill, and they're gonna drive it home. It's the Dragonborns. They are gonna pick SK Gaming apart, and you can see Muvard, he's heading straight in towards the turret. Shusha's coming with him. They're gonna tank this one up, and it's gonna be the Dragonborns taking down SK Gaming, going 2-1 in the League of Legends Championship Series. Fantastically fought out by the Dragonborns.
Great game overall by them. They took that advantage early on with that double kill out of Lux to pretty much get the advantage in the game, to get their foot back in the game. SK unfortunately wasn't able to get that strong fight they wanted to. The final spark coming out of Shusha in that last team fight got Ocelot so low that he immediately had to run away, and that's what you saw the resets happen from Darius.
Beautiful flash apprehend there, and very well played by Dragonborns. It took them a while to get going, and we thought that SK Gaming maybe had to claw their way back into it, but it wasn't to be. To take us through all of the action, and well, there was a little bit of a drawn-out period in there. We are going to pass over to our expert analyst desk, and it is, of course, manned with Peke.
Thanks a lot, Demon, and what an amazing game in the end. There was that really stale period, just in there in the middle, but my God, did it get turned, and that was just a brilliant ending to it.
Yeah, it's so true. You know, right at the beginning of the game, I was talking about the bottom lanes with Peke, and I said, well, tell me about this. Which matchup do you prefer? You know, this Zyra Caitlyn, or of course the Taric and Darius combo?
Draven,
thank you. Darius is in the top lane. Yeah, there we go. And Peke's like, yeah, well, at level 3, you know, that's it. They're just going to one-shot Nif's Zyra, but they did it at level 2.
Yeah.
And what do you think of the combo? What do you think of the champions?
Well, I knew they will probably destroy their bottom lane. What I didn't expect them at level 2 to almost get a double kill. I didn't expect that. I thought level 3 they will go for a safe kill on Zyra, and then Caitlyn will farm less, and that would be enough. But they just one box deep and destroy their bottom.
So to break that whole stale point, we had Shusha really, you know, when he really rocketed himself to fame. Obviously, you know as well as maybe anyone else here that that was in the Season 1 World Championships, which you guys won, playing his Gragas, doing the cosplay thing as he went. That's the kind of stuff that made Shusha such a big celebrity in the League of Legends scene, that made everyone love him. That kind of, you know, amazing play.
Yeah, it was like I don't know, I didn't expect it myself. When I was not looking for a second, and suddenly I saw he did a double kill. I didn't expect him to just one-shot them both with that combo. I don't know. That was really sick.
We're going to show you one of the combos here in the replay in just a second. It's not the one that we did the replay of at, the 31 minutes mark. It's a little bit later in the matchup. This is after the Baron had been taken, the second Baron had respawned, and Dragonborns, they pretty much just collapsed on SK in this matchup. Peke, talk us through the fight, and specifically the laser.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, what Dragonborn does here is kind of smart, because SK is prepared for them to go to Baron and then just decide to go on them. They're not really prepared to face them in a fight.
So one of the things I just want to point out, just as we're moving into this, just at the top of your screen here, you can see there is Shusha's Lux with, you know, crazy millions of items, and Maluna and Spontex pick a fight here with Hercubot. Ocelot has a fair amount of HP, and your jaw hit the floor when the final spark hits. Why were you so surprised by the amount of damage?
Like, look at that Lux ultimate. When I see ultimates, I was like, well, it's a good ultimate, you hit a lot of people, but then I see the HP of the Orianna. Look at that.
Just completely melted.
If you can do that damage, the fight is won.
And of course, you know, Hercubot, he tanked a long time there. We do then go through Spontex. He gets the first slam dunk, and about this point, D-Man's lung capacity starts to shrink as Candy Panda gets the next dunk. Talk us about Darius's build here.
Yeah, he was full Darius. He's really tanky, but he still does a lot with the ultimate, and that was the perfect fight for him. Everyone really low with the ultimate. He just went in, ultimate, 1 kill, double kill, triple kill, and almost quadra kill if Kevin didn't flash.
And was it a bit of a mean thing by Kevin flashing away, taking the Quadra away?
No, it wasn't mean. It was a bit mean, but...
From the start, Dragonborns seemed to be in control of the matchup, and right at the beginning you said you liked their picks. What can teams do to stop them getting away?
Well, I don't know, they had really good picks. Like I said, in team fights it's going to be really nice if they can do it good. They can kill one guy with a stun. If they kill the guy, they're going to win the fight. If they don't, they might have some troubles, but they did it. Every fight they won is because they pick up one guy, either with Lux combo or with Tarek stun and Draven throwing some access non-stop. And yeah, that's what they did. They did really good all the time. They did only one mistake on mid lane, where they lost Hosan, I think. But that was about it. Besides that, they didn't do big mistakes.
Well, brilliant victory there for Dragonborns over an amazing team in the form of SK Gaming, who have done well up until now here in the European LCS. We're going to throw it over to the stage. Shox is up there with the man himself, Shushe.
Absolutely, Shushe. First off, congratulations on this first victory. Now, what were you afraid of going into this matchup? A specific lane or a specific player?
I think a bit, yes, but we screamed SK a lot, and actually we lost, I think, out of 10 games against them. But we knew what they are playing, and I think we were prepared against them, at least better than against EG. So.
All right. Now you were up against Ocelot in that mid lane, Orianna versus Lux. Can you take us through that matchup?
Yeah, from my experience, it's kind of a balanced matchup, because both of the champions have long range, they can poke, and they have good damage, but both also have skill shots, so you can dodge enemy. And I missed some last hits at start, but I think the lane went pretty even there. It was 57 to 50 at some point, and then it kept like that.
Yeah, the matchup was pretty even. It wasn't a bot lane that you made a huge advantage in the beginning of the game. Kind of normalized, but then there was that double kill from you in mid lane. Can you take us through what happened from that point on?
That was a bit lucky. I mean, they didn't have vision on us. They didn't know where we are, and they pushed forward while we had vision on them. So I see two people going next to each other in my range. Of course, I'm gonna use my skills. I hit all three of them, and I didn't expect that Orianna would die with Zyra as well, but I guess I just took them by surprise, and yeah, that was double one-shot.
All right, now you came into this LCS maybe kind of an underdog, being the last ones to qualify. Do you feel that way?
I still feel like underdog. Well, maybe a bit, because other teams are more experienced playing together, and we are a really young team. But I think we're gonna, playing here, gonna make us stronger, and each week we're just gonna have more and more teamwork, and we will stand up to the teams and to the task.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Shushe. Now, we're going to a short break in just a second, but I'd like to remind you of our Twitter question for today. It is, what has been your favorite change in Season 3 so far? You can tweet us your answer at LOL eSports, #LCS. Of course, if you've got any questions for any of us here in the studio, or Xpeke, who has joined us at the analysis desk, you can tweet that at LOL eSports, #LCS, and you will answer them for you. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, it's Gambit Gaming versus the Copenhagen Wolves. Can the Wolves put their paws on a victory, or are Gambit going 3-2 in the LCS? We'll find out in a second.